But let's do something real quick, all right? I got about 2 minutes, and my job is to create a choir. Right. All of you, all right? So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you are able to stand, would you please stand? It was Dr. Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who said, our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. Would you agree? And so we're here because we refuse to be silent, right? So far, so good. That's half the choir. Here's the song. It is a call and response. I'm going to say, somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on, and your job is to say, far too long. It's gone on, far too long. It's gone on. Somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on. And the last part is simple. We'll all sing, and we won't be silent anymore. So on that part, can we just pump a fist? We won't be silent anymore. All right? Real quick, I'm going to give it to you one time. You catch on, you jump in, and we're going to raise the roof on it, okay? All right, here we go. Somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on far too long. I tell you, it's gone on far too long. Oh, somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on far too long. All together. And we won't be silent anymore. We got that? Here we go, real quick. Sopranos, altos, tenors, bass, baritone. I only sing in the shower, all together. Oh, somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on. I tell you, it's gone on. Oh, somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on. And we won't be silent anymore. Did you hear? Somebody's hurting my sister, and it's gone on. Yes, it's gone on far too long. I tell you, it's gone on. Oh, somebody's hurting my sister, and it's gone on. And we did you know somebody's stealing our wages, and it's gone on? Yes, it's gone on. I tell you, it's gone on. Yes, somebody's stealing our wages, and it's gone on. And we won't be silent anymore. Don't you know somebody's been lying to the people, and it's gone on? Yes, it's gone on far too long. I tell you, it's gone on. Yes, somebody's been lying to the people, and it's gone on. And we... Oh, you sounding good right now. Yes, somebody's hurting our families, and it's gone on. Yes, it's gone on. I tell you, it's gone on. Oh, somebody's hurting our families, and it's gone on. And we won't be silent anymore. Can we do one more? Don't you know somebody's hurting our children, and it's gone on? Yes, it's gone on. I tell you, it's gone on. Oh, children, and it's gone on. And we won't be silent. Let's keep singing that part right there. And we won't. And we. I need you to kind of raise it up a little bit. And we. If you mean it, come on and pump your fists and sing it. And we won't be silent anymore. One more time, and we're going to hold it out this time. And we won't be silent. Watch me. Anymore. You're a wonderful choir. Wonderful choir.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. Please welcome Dr. Jens Fredrickson.
Good afternoon and welcome to the historic campus of Fisk University. My name is Jens Fredrickson, and I serve as the Executive Vice President here at Fisk. I'd like to take just a moment to welcome a few of our special guests here today. Senator Sanders, we're delighted you're here. Reverend Barber, it's a pleasure having you on campus. And Representative Jones, well, I'll let you in on a little secret. He's on campus all the time, but it's still the greatest pleasure. To other speakers, thank you so much for being here. And finally, as a point of privilege, greetings to our Fisk trustees and our trailblazing gymnastics team that are here with us today. Before I close this welcome, I'd like to express that as much as Fisk is rich in history, it has always been an institution with at least one foot in the future, and that future being a better future for all. Justice, equality, empowerment, safety, and inclusion are transcendent values that impact every facet of our lives. Fisk has always been and will always embody a haven for these values and their perpetual cultivation and dissemination. Welcome to Fisk. Thank you.
Thank you. Please welcome Alana Royale.
Hey everyone, I wore a blazer today. Regretting this choice, not regretting my decision to be here today. Thank you so much everyone for being here. Good evening to all of you and happy Pride, Nashville. It is my absolute honor to stand here today alongside these pivotal figures in the fight for equity, liberation, and justice. Not to mention, we are also on what I would consider to be sacred ground, Fisk University here, where a generation of civil rights icons first planted roots of a movement. I'm supposed to be on my way to Minneapolis right now to start a tour tomorrow, but this event really took precedence over a gas station in Iowa lunch. So I'm very happy to be here and not in the middle of Iowa right now, but I will be there tomorrow. My name is Alana Royale. I am a most of the time touring artist and a sometimes server at Henrietta Red right here in Germantown. As a musician and a restaurant employee, I do know a thing or two about being overworked and underpaid. I know about the financial anxieties of managing my career, my health, my mental well-being, and my mortgage. We are here today to discuss Tennessee minimum wage. Although I don't think you guys are that excited about it. Minimum wage, minimum. This $7.25 an hour is the legal threshold for which paying your employees, and this has not changed since July of 2009 on a federal level. 2009. How is it that nearly every facet of our lives has changed since 2009 and not once we have made an increase to federal minimum wage? Now I think if you've made it to this rally, I think you've got a clear idea of how this is not only a completely unacceptable statistic for one of the wealthiest nations in the world, but this is also going to perpetuate chronic stress on generations of Americans. And I know everyone in this room has felt that chronic stress of what it is to be in America and be grossly underpaid for what you do. One thing I want to make clear today is that when we talk wage gap, when we talk wage inequality, this is not simply a one-dimensional issue. When we have this discussion, it is impossible to avoid the racial and gender aspects. Women, and especially women of color, are disproportionately affected with this idea that we can make a living in this country for less than $8 an hour. In Tennessee, 36% of workers make $17 or less. When COVID hit and I was slowly coming to realization that I was not going to be going back on the road or doing any live events for a very long time, I reluctantly started looking for jobs. I, like so many others, was living off of unemployment checks and was able to scrape by only because my mortgage was paused. And I understand that inherently right there, I've got a leg up over so many other people because I was afforded that luxury. I finally resigned myself to a job search, and I was absolutely gobsmacked to find that if I had been hired by any major chain retailer, Sephora, Ulta, Old Navy, Walmart, that I would not have been able to pay my bills with a 40-hour work week. This dream that we were sold, it does not work. It is a fallacy, and it is time for it to change. We are living in a broken culture of impossibly low wages and a tipping system built off the tenets of segregation and racism. Something must change, and just by showing up today, you have decided you are ready to be a part of this change. I deserve better. You deserve better. We all deserve better. Thank you. So I'm asking you today a couple things here. Please make sure you are registered to vote. Please show up to the polls when you know you're registered. Please find a way to maintain your own physical and mental health so that you can continue on this fight for a truly fair and just America. Stay informed, stay hydrated, and remember, you can buy a record once and stream it forever. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please welcome Sam Lewis once again.
Hello, hello, you all right? That was mediocre. You okay? There you go. Well done. My name's Sam Lewis. I normally speak with a guitar on, so this is incredibly awkward. But we're going to get through it if you just hang in there with me, all right? I'm extremely honored to be here today, to have been asked to come and share some of my songs and a little bit about myself, which I will keep it brief. I've called Nashville home for the last 14 years. It's the longest I've lived anywhere, which is quite an achievement, considering I was enrolled in nearly 20 different public schools before graduating from Carroll County High School in southwestern Virginia. My parents were both blue-collar workers. We moved from state to state, from one low-paying job to another. barely keeping the lights on. At 17 years of age, I had to be independent. This meant buying my own car, my own mobile phone. We called them mobile phones then. And maintaining them. I lived with my mother and her husband at this time. So all of us doing our parts to make ends meet felt more like roommates. My first job was at the local Burger King, making $4.85 an hour, which was minimum wage at the time. I quickly learned it was impossible to continue playing sports or attend after-school programs that I enjoyed for years while trying to work a part-time job. Certainly a relatable subject, I'm sure, for many of you. Unfortunately, this was only the beginning of what I call the sacrificial cycle. Underprepared for college and dependent on working to survive, I took a job at a furniture factory, but I lost my work when the work moved overseas. It took 10 years of working at Walmart before I could save just enough money and make the leap to be a full-time musician. A few more dollars an hour would have allowed me to pursue my dreams years earlier. I will never get that time back, but we don't have to make the next generation wait for years before they're reaching their dreams. The working poor of America need help, and we can do it. Corporate America can afford to pay a few extra dollars an hour. They will still profit, trust me. Too many of our elected leaders, the wealthy, and corporations have chosen poverty and homelessness for us all to dwell within. They act as if inequality is somehow morally justified, when we all know it is not true. Just voting isn't enough. Just showing up to rallies isn't enough. Show someone your heart. Expose your love. And let's change this world for the better. It's an unbelievable honor to share this evening with Senator Bernie Sanders, Reverend William Barber, and our own and fantastic state representative, Justin Jones. All great individuals with vision and passion to help the working classes of America. They can't do it alone. We have to help them. We have to vote. We have to show up and be counted. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Now please welcome Miss Honey Harris to the stage.
I am living proof you can be old and still be fabulous. Okay. I'm Honey Harris. I want to say welcome, sweet lambs and gentle giants. Thank you for being here, most powerful. I'm used to little bitty babies, but I see everybody as somebody's baby. Okay? I am a paraprofessional with MMPS schools. 20+ years fighting this fight for a fair wage. Okay? I work for Metro, and it has been a dog fight, and you guys know it. I've been on city council. I even threatened them that I will be standing on the corner begging for change if they didn't do something about this wage. We finally got $17 an hour. It went from 15 to 17 to 18. Okay? And that's for support staff for schools. It took our union, SCIU, fighting for us to make this happen because they didn't give us anything. You guys went to public school, some of you have children that you've entrusted to public school. Understand, we are there from the time the doors open to the time the doors close. And I love my teachers, sisters, and brothers, but understand something. The pandemic proved they can't do it without me. They can't do it without me. So I want to live and play in Nashville just like everybody else. I am a mom of a 29-year-old MMPS graduate and an 11-year-old current MMPS student. So that's 17-year difference, and I've been in this fight, and I'm gonna stay in this fight. Understand, we need you to vote. If you have your child in public schools, we need you to be on PTO. We need you to show up at city council. We need to show up at school board. We need you to show up every time the school door opens and you're not working. We need you to show up because parents have the power. Parents are the voters. You are the first and the best advocate for your children. Understand that. And I'm going to tell you, I need you to support me because I'm supporting your babies. And when you vote and you stand and you say, Miss Honey needs to be able to pay her mortgage while she's feeding my child, while she's loving on my child, while she's educating my child, she needs to be able to pay her bills too. As you guys very well know, they've said 725 in Tennessee. Nashville is the it city. Let's show them. We're going to start right here. Give a livable wage to people who live and work in this state. We want to be known not just for the place to play. We want to be known for the place where they pay. Okay? Okay? I want to thank Justin, my beautiful escort. I want to thank Reverend Barber. All of you guys and everybody's here who organized this event. And when you see me standing on the corner with my MMPS shirt, take some pictures and say, I know her, you need to pay her. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Honey. Now, folks, please put your hands together for Representative Justin Jones.
Ain't no power like the power of the people. Because the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people because the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people because the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people because the power of the people don't stop. That's what we're bringing here today. Thank you all for being here. We gather here not for one campaign or one candidate, but we gather here as a movement in a space that is very historic. I just want to ground us in where we are right now. We are in the same gymnasium where in 1960 Dr. King came to speak to the Nashville citizens and said, I came to Nashville not to get inspiration, not to bring inspiration, but to get inspiration from the movement that is happening here. And I say in 2023, a movement is once again happening in Nashville and Tennessee. And as we look around today, I know that many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are fearful because look around, we are multiracial, we are intergenerational, we are from urban and rural communities. This is Tennessee. And we represent the future of Tennessee that they're so fearful of because it is inclusive. It is one that affirms human dignity. It is a Tennessee that will uplift our children so they can flourish. And so I would be remiss if I didn't mention what today is. Today is National Gun Violence Prevention Day. And we have a movement being led by young people and parents and teachers and clergy saying that we want to live in a state where we have living wage jobs, where it's more easy to access a living wage job than it is to get an AR-15. That's the state we want to live in. It is emotional looking around and seeing you all because this is the revolution coming to Tennessee. And the reason why there's so much repression in Tennessee, the reason why the Republicans are so extreme in their attacks on our democracy is because there's so much revolution to quell in Tennessee, we see. That a movement is rising up in Tennessee that is to restore democracy, a multiracial democracy, to restore a Tennessee that lifts up dignity in the people of our children. That is the Tennessee that we're building together. We're rising together. We're rising together. We are rising together as a movement. This is the power that they're so fearful of. And so as we talk about wages, because that's what we're talking about, but we know that economic justice is a racial justice issue. We know that it's an immigrant rights issue. We know that's an issue of treating women and paying women equal. We know that's an issue of uplifting our LGBTQ plus brothers and sisters. We know that economic justice is connected to all of our fights. And we know that that's the issue that scares them most, this fusion coalition that my mentor, Reverend Barber, always talks about, this coalition of conscience that we're building in the South, the same Tennessee where Dr. King came to stand with sanitation workers. The same Tennessee. And 55 years later, we are still fighting for workers and our neighbors and our families and ourselves to be treated with dignity in a state where we have corporate bailouts for a new Titan Stadium. We have money to afford to give FedEx tax incentives for their fuel, but we don't have enough money to pay people a living wage. We default to $7.25, and we say you cannot survive off $7.25. We are fired up and we are fed up, and we're not going to take it anymore. Just this session, we passed a budget. I shouldn't say we because I didn't vote for it, and I know Sister Gloria, who's here, didn't vote for it. A budget led by the state legislature that was not uplifting working class people. An immoral budget that was more about pandering to corporate donors than it was to than uplifting the voices of our constituents, the voices of people of Tennessee. And so we said, hell no, we cannot vote on something like this because it's not going to make sure the people in our community can live with dignity. It's not going to make sure the people in my district who are our bus drivers, our hotel workers, those who are the heartbeat of Nashville are treated with dignity. So how could I vote on a budget that was more about giving FedEx jet fuel tax incentives than about giving people a living wage and fighting for affordable housing and fighting for our teachers to be paid with dignity? And so we know that as Uncle Bernie, Brother Bernie is here, is going to be talking about the federal level. We know that we also must fight at the state level because that state capitol is walking distance from here. And they're so fearful of you showing up that they ended session early this year. They ended session 3 weeks early because they saw the power of this movement that is happening, that they were afraid. They were afraid of us coming together. But here's the message that they didn't get. Here's the message that we have to remind them of each and every time. Cameron Sexton, the speaker. William Lambert, the Republican majority leader. This is the message I'm going to say to them, is that we're fighting for your children too. We're fighting for your people too. The people in Cookeville, the people in Crossville, the people in Hendersonville, the people in Sumner County. We are fighting for your people too. And so as we leave this rally this summer, we will be traveling to these districts around our state. We hope you join us. We hope you stand with us because there's more of us than them. There's more of us than them, those of us who are fighting against these starvation wages, those of us who are fighting for human dignity, those fighting for a new South. You know, segregationists had a saying that the South will rise again. I say, let's rewrite that. The South will rise anew. The South will rise anew. We are rising as a new South, as a new Tennessee, as a new Nashville, as a new Memphis, as a new Knoxville, as a new 10 Mile, Tennessee. Wherever you're from, Chattanooga, we are rising together to build a new South, and that is a South that is worth fighting for. It's a South that will redeem this state. It's a South that will redeem this state. We are going to lift up our people. Because yes, Tennessee is the birthplace of the Klan, but it's also the birthplace of the Nashville student movement. It's also the same Tennessee where Highlander Folk Center was, where civil rights leaders across the nation would come. It's also the Tennessee that desegregated Clinton. It's also the Tennessee where the people saw the buses burn. They said, we'll continue the freedom rides. We are that same Tennessee. We come from a legacy of liberation. We are a people of progress, and we must reclaim the narrative. We must reclaim our state and lift together to make sure our people can rise. So, my friends, I'll just leave you with this. Is that we are fed up. And when you're fed up, it's time to rise up. And when you want to rise up, it's time to raise up the wages. Let's go forward together, my friends. Let's build this movement. Let's stand together. And let's put those on notice at the state legislature that your time is up. That you are in the find out portion of our movement. That you messed around with working class people, and now it's time to find out what happens next. That you messed around with the workers. Now it's time to find out what's coming next. That you messed around with our communities, and it's time to find out what comes next as we're standing together. And so thank you all for being here. We're going to keep rising together and working together, and it's going to take all of us, not one of us, but it's going to take us standing together across issues, black, brown, and poor white people standing together to let them know that this politics of fear and division that they try and sow by banning books and banning history is not going to work, because we know what it's about. It's about divide and conquer, and we're done with that foolishness. Power to the people. Power to the people.
Thank you, folks. Now put your hands together for Bishop William J. Barber II, founding director of the Center for Public Theology and Public Policy at the Yale Divinity School.
Well, it looks like the South has risen. But I don't know if this microphone has. You are witnessing a third reconstruction. It's good. You're witnessing the third reconstruction right now. And the reason why there's so much resistance, would you hold this? Reason why there's so much resistance is because they used to say in South Africa, only a dying mule kicks the hardest. When Senator Sanders called and asked me would I join him on a nation tour starting in the South, the answer was a quick yes. He said, Pastor, I need you to do some teaching about why this is a moral issue. And I want to start tonight from two texts from the Bible. In the Old Testament, the prophet Jeremiah said, "Woe unto him or her who builds their palace by unrighteousness, his upper rooms by injustice, making his own people work for nothing and not paying them for their labor." Isaiah 10 says, "Woe unto those who legislate evil and rob the poor of their rights and make women and children their prey." Jesus in his first sermon said, "You must preach good news to the poor," and the word poor in Greek is patokos. It means those who've been made poor by economic exploitation. And then later in the epistles, it simply says, "The laborer is worthy of their hire." Would you say that? The laborer is worthy of their hire, of their money. In every age, moral people have had to rise up and decide to make the moral case that things have to change and injustice has to move. Our national constitution, flawed as it may be from the beginning, but it does say that we must establish justice. It says nothing about poverty wages. And poverty wages are not establishing justice. Poverty wages establish injustice. Our Declaration of Independence says that when there has been a long train of abuses, it is the very duty of the people, their right, to overthrow that government and provide a new government. I come to tell you that low wages and refusal to pay people a living wage is a form of political abuse. Our federal government has not raised the minimum wage in 14 years. During the pandemic, we called low-wage workers essential, but refused to pay them a living wage, refused to give them paid sick leave, refused to give them health care. We treated them like they were expendable. We said, yes, you're essential, but then we treated them like they're expendable while corporate profits rose. And CEO pays continued to rise, and Congress over these years have given themselves a raise. The Constitution of this state, you ought to read it sometime. I'm convinced many of the people in your state house, they haven't. The Constitution of this state makes it clear that our liberty depends on people who decide things have to change and injustice has to move. It says in Article 1, Section 2, that the government being instituted for the common benefit, the doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary power and oppression is absurd. What that means, if folk are using government to step on you and you don't fight back, then you are sillier than they are. And so in every age, there comes a time when people have to rise and decide things have to change and injustice has to move. In 1935, amidst the Great Depression and labor strikes and the Harlem riots, Langston Hughes turned his pen into a moral instrument and a weapon to fight injustice, and he wrote these words: "Oh, let America be America again, the land that has never been yet and yet must be, the land where every man is free, the land that is mine, the poor man, the Indians, the Negro, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, and